What do we have here? All right, oh no, shade already. Do I take it off? Oh my God, my hair, what a mess. All right, I know my wife's not gonna like this, but for the sake of this video, I'm gonna wear it backwards, just so I could spare you my crazy locks on top of my head. All right, where are we? Wait a minute. It's been 6 months since this? And just like that, it is done. I tell you, time just keeps on ticking, zooming by like it's no one's business. But thankfully, you're here so I can share you my business on what's happened over these past 6 months.
Explain something.
Wait, 15? Didn't I just recently release 2 vlogs that were in Florida, parts 1 and 2, which were number 16? I know. I'll explain that at the back end of this video. But for right now, I'm glad you're here. Yes, this is vlog number 15, a 6-month overview for 3 of the biggest things that I've learned throughout the course of these 180 plus days into my foray becoming a full-time content creator. And people could think it's glamorous. People could think that it's sexy, that there are so many perks and so many different things that you could do, especially when you have nothing but time. Well, this is why I'm going to break it down. As a novice, and I will say novice, content creator, there's a lot of things I've had to learn on the fly. There's a lot of things that I've had to do in order to keep myself occupied, busy, which that hasn't been a problem, but still, these are my 3 biggest takeaways, and the last one is enormous when it comes to being a content creator full-time and doing this not only as a love, but for the passion in trying to get to where you want to go in this particular medium. Number 1, underestimating the time, the just overall sense of calm, peace, and yes, freedom that you have when you take the leap. Now, of course, we all know there's risks involved where, okay, when is my next paycheck coming in? Hopefully you don't have a lot of debt, and hopefully that you have enough savings that's gonna tide you over for quite some time, because nobody wants to do this when you have $1,000 in the bank and knowing that you have to pay rent, food, utilities, etc. But for me, luckily I had planned this out, and knowing that I was going to embark on this particular journey where, yes, I was gonna have not only creative freedom, but the freedom to be able to set my days, weeks, and months to where I could do whatever it is that I want. And let me tell you something, that is the ultimate flex. I don't care how you slice it, dice it, etc. To be able to have this opportunity, to be able to just be in this space to where I could go ahead and map out my days and map out what it is I want to do for that given day, time, etc. It is the most liberating, it is the most unbelievable feeling. I can't even quantify it. And as much as I imagined it leading up to the time when I left corporate America, still, 6 months later, I can't believe that I still have this life. Now, mind you, there is a lot of work. Nothing glamorous, nothing where you want to break out the pom-poms and say, hey, it's not like I can kick back and retire and just do this when I feel like it. There's a lot that goes into this. So I need to preface it by saying that for those who are thinking of taking that leap or thinking about doing this full time. But let me tell you something. The freedom, it is just otherworldly. And when you have it, you value it, you cherish it, and by all means, you do whatever it takes to protect it. Number 2, and this one, if you're not as disciplined or not as structured, or I have so many ideas, I'll be able to knock this stuff out, this will be a piece of cake. One thing that kind of falls short here, for those who do not have that strong regimen, is to be able to maximize your time when you have it. And I get it. People have families, people have other obligations, things of that nature where it can be difficult. And in my case, thankfully, I have a wife and a little puppy. So it's not as if I have a newborn or even a 5-year-old or even a teenager where, yes, I have to navigate family life in that regard to where at any given moment, anything could happen. And as we all know, that's pretty much the case as long as we live day in and day out. But overall, it's a scenario where because of those freedoms, the luxury to be able to do whatever it is that you want, create the life that you want to live, there has to be some sort of guideline or some sort of breakdown as to how your seconds, minutes, hours, days, weeks, months, etc., how they're going to be mapped out. Because as you well know, one day becomes 1 week, becomes a month, becomes 3 months, and here I am 6 months later. And can I honestly say that throughout that time, I was able to account for every second, every minute that I've executed everything that I absolutely wanted to do? We know the answer to that. That is a big, fat, giant no. And this has nothing to do with the obligations of home life, whether it's trying to make time out for the family or carve out time to do those household chores or errands or things of that nature where I'm able to do throughout the course of a week. But that is the one thing that kind of goes under the radar, because we feel that by having this luxury to be able to go out and do whatever it is that we want, or all right, on Monday I'm gonna produce this content, and on Wednesday I'm gonna reach out to sponsors, and on Thursday, yes, that's all well and good. But if you have those terrible habits where you're scrolling on Instagram or where you're watching Netflix or streaming the latest show, whatever it may be, thankfully that's not the case. Oh my God, now I have barbecue smoke coming my way, so that's not gonna be any type of effect I'm throwing in here if it does happen to come through. But nevertheless, this is where you need to be 100% positively sure that when you take this leap, when you do this jump, you gotta make sure you have this thing mapped out. And I'm not trying to say that there's a day or two where you're gonna have to pivot or something comes up. That's just life, that's gonna happen. But you have to make sure that whatever it is that you're setting out to do, whether it's on a weekly basis, daily basis, if you're gonna put out one video a week, whether it's a vlog, whether it's an educational video, no matter what, especially when you're getting into the YouTube atmosphere, you have to make sure that you account for the work that you put in. Because one more time, if you don't, it's gonna swallow you up. And the next thing you know, your bank account could be a barren wasteland, or you may have to be looking for another job. Thankfully, that's not the case with me to this point, but still, it's one that is becoming a challenge, slowly but surely, now more than 6 months, a little bit more than 6 months, after I left corporate America to do what it is that I want to do and love to do. And number 3, which to me is the biggest lesson that I learned throughout all this, is you have to be able to pivot. You have to be able to adjust, make moves when necessary. If you recall, about 6-7 weeks ago, I put up a video regarding the start of the second half of 2024 and how I needed to make a shift. I needed to make an adjustment because what was working for me throughout those first 4.5 months just wasn't cutting it anymore. And yes, I get it. You could, sleep in, or I could maximize my day by waking up at 10 and I'll start my day at 12. Again, if it's not in you to be disciplined and to make sure that you're going to do what it is that you say and set out to do, if you're not gonna do it, then chances are this is where you have to go back to number 2 and make sure that you, across the board, write down digitally, manually, analog, whatever, doesn't matter. You have to make sure that you do that, because if you don't, it's gonna be a problem. Back to number 3. You're gonna have to adjust. It's just a way of life, and that's just how life is. Even if you have a schedule that's set, whether you're single, married, kids, dogs, etc., it is important and imperative that every now and again, you have to take a look at the land. You have to be able to see what's working and what's not. And for me, thankfully, I was able to make a pivot when I actually absolutely had to. And it's worked out for me. I've gotten up extra earlier. I've gotten up as early as 4 a.m. Now the sweet spot for me, all these bugs, the sweet spot for me is 5:15. So from 5:30 to let's say 9:15, 9:30, depending on what days that my wife's at home, I'm able to do a few things to at least get a head start and a jump to a lot of the projects, or reaching out to sponsors, or even checking on my budget to make sure I'm not blowing it to smithereens. All those things that factor into being productive and being on top of everything that's going on, not just from a creative standpoint as far as posting content and doing things on a day in, day out basis, but all the other things that need to be taken care of, whether it's calling my car insurance to say, why are you increasing it by $50? Or being able to contact that particular sponsor that hopefully aligns with whatever it is that you're doing when it comes to this space. And all that kind of gets forgotten about, because yes, you think that it's just about firing up the camera, hooking up the microphone, getting it to a point where once you finish, then you can just edit and post and that's it. Put your feet up and relax, and hopefully you get the subscribers and the views, and away you go. As we all know, for a small-time content creator like myself, that is not the case. We wish that the one video that we post is gonna go viral, and next thing you know, we get the 1,000 subscribers, we have the 4,000 hours watched, and now it's all gravy to try to monetize, ad revenue, etc. But yes, if it was that easy, everybody would do it. One more time, you have to take a look from within and know yourself. Number 2, like I mentioned, very important to get that, strategize, and make sure you execute it to the best of your ability, but even to be able to make those changes, because those changes are gonna come. No matter how strict you may be with your schedule, there are gonna be times where if something's not working, even if it's a thing on YouTube, where I'm putting up good titles, I'm putting up good thumbnails, Why am I not getting the views or the subscribers? Well, that's when you have to take the time out to kind of figure out where you're gonna go, what you're gonna do in order for you to get to that point. And of course, that's always ever changing with YouTube, as I'm sure you've seen all the videos and all the latest updates when it comes to monetizing, when it comes to all of it, which I get it, will make your head spin. But this is why we do what we do, because we know that so many other people are out there doing it, that I'm gonna give this a shot. I'm going to be able to push all my chips to the middle of the table and see where it goes. Because the biggest regret in life is not being able to take that shot, not being able to say that I did it, or I tried, or I was able to give it my all and it didn't work. And even if it doesn't work, if this is what's burning in your chest, do it. Because you don't want to be old and gray and say, yeah, I gave it a shot, but I should have gave it a lot more. That you've exhausted every possibility known to man, and you know in your heart of hearts that whether it didn't work out or did, and hopefully it does for all of you, but at least you could go to sleep and put your head on the pillow to say, you know what, I did give it my all. But there are gonna be no shortcuts. I know that there's a process, I know it's gonna take time, etc. But with all that being said, the bottom line is this: those three things were imperative and important for me to learn throughout the course of this journey. And I hope that whatever you glean from this, you can apply it to what it is that you're gonna do. Now, if you're already off and running to where, hey, I've been doing this for 6 weeks and I already have 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 hours watched, and I'm already monetizing and I'm already getting sources of income, passive income from all these different avenues. Well, talk to your boy, because I'm still trying to figure that out. But again, that goes back to me not putting in the right amount of hours and time through the first 4.5 months in order for me to get to a point where, all right, I'm starting to get some income. I'm starting to work on some things. I'm starting to get opportunities where I never imagined, or I have imagined, but not to the point where it's like, wow, I'm overwhelmed by it. From a good level, of course. So that's what I got, people. Oh, and how could I forget? Yeah, I screwed up. I actually produced, edited, and was about to post this vlog, which I did indoors just a couple weeks ago. Wait a minute. You mean to tell me it's been 6 months since this? And just like that, it is done. I know time flies, but damn, 6 months went by like that. And because I didn't like it, and it was 25 minutes, and I thought, wait a minute, why is this a 25-minute video when this should actually be no more than 15? So yes, in the middle of editing Vlog 16, part 1 and part 2, and thinking that I was gonna post this ahead of time, and I would have, because it is gonna be unreleased, it is in my hard drive, it's gonna be forever there, but this is why I had to produce another one, and I wanted to do it outside in the elements, even with the bugs and the smoke and people talking in the background. But enough. That's the reason why you're seeing Vlog 15 before 16, or did I say that right? Let's start over again. This is the reason why you're viewing Vlog 15 after Vlog 16. Won't do that again. My apologies for confusing anybody out there who's followed. I just had to make sure I had to clear that up. With that being said, let's see how the next 6 months go, and hopefully the next 6 years and beyond, as I'm trying to hustle and do things behind the scenes as I do on a daily basis. But one more time, thank you so much. Please subscribe, hook your boy up. I'm trying to get to that 1,000 subscriber threshold, because until then, this hair, who knows? It may reach the top of these trees that are right behind me if I don't get to that point. So can you do me a favor and hit that subscribe button? And tell your friends, family, foes, frenemies about the channel. I get it's mostly sports, but at the same time, there's gonna be a lot more lifestyle content coming your way. So one more time, I greatly appreciate it, people. And until next time, on the flip, baby.